Can God actually listen to everyone, including me at the same time?
Sometimes I wonder, if he's really there and if he's listening all the time.
My biggest question about God is how does he answer everybody's prayers? What does he look like? Does he look like a human? Does he look like just a spirit? Is he just like a voice?
So sometimes as a pastor, I get a text or an email or a mention after church on Sunday, hey, my kid asked me this question and I have no idea how to answer it. And often it's afterlife stuff, sort of death and sin kind of stuff, the big questions. One that surprised me recently was my kid is in a really interfaith context, and I didn't grow up in an interfaith context, and so how do I talk about our faith in a way that's respectful to my kids' friends who I want to value, right? I think a lot of what I try to do as a pastor to parents is remind them that, as with all things, this faith questions are not a one and done conversation. If your kid comes to you with a big question about who God is or why there's evil in the world or whatever these things are, you don't need to actually answer it in that moment, right? That's the first conversation of probably many. And one of the things that I think is often hard for parents is they don't know their answer to that question, for themselves. And so when their kid asks, it exposes this, oh no, I don't actually have an answer that I feel is very good for that. And so trying to sort of, this is not a crisis, right? This is an opportunity to think about, well, what is it that matters to you as a parent about that? And how can you just say something about that to your kid? And how can you model the honesty of that, of, gosh, that really is a hard question, and it's one that I'm not sure I have the answer to either. I think one of the most important things Bringing Church Home can do is help parents find ways to articulate for themselves what is important to them about their faith, or what is really core to what they believe, because they can't ever say it to their kids if they can't say it for themselves. And once they have that, then I think it's about helping parents realize they have what they need to have these big conversations with their kids, like they do all the time about faith things and about all kinds of other stuff too. Our church pulled together a small team of folks to think about Bringing Church Home and how we might support parents and caregivers in their kids' faith formations. And then we just kind of threw stuff to the wall. One of the things to see what would stick, one of the things I love about New Hope is this church is so open to new ideas. They're really willing to give anything a try. And so we kind of took a little bit of that approach of, let's just try a couple things and see what is sustainable for us, what is life-giving for our community. So we printed a board game based on a sermon series that we were doing. I know in my house we love to play games together, and so it's a really natural vehicle then to talk about something that matters. And so the game is centered around kindness and Jesus' command to do unto others, to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And we were able to give a copy to all of the families in our church so that they might play it at home and talk about some of these things in a way that's fun and engaging. I would recommend Bringing Church Home because it has helped us ask the right questions. And we haven't found all the answers, but it has given us the space to imagine. And the money, a little bit of money goes a long way for most congregations. And it has allowed us the freedom to just try something and see what happens. And I think God has been at work through that. And we're finding our way to something that's really life-giving for our kids and our parents and our congregation.